All right. Well, in review, Melanie Shreeve been running a quilt business that I had no idea about for last 10+ years. She's not making the actual quilts, but she kind of seals it on the outside, and she does that because she has like a special tool, and not a lot of people are willing to get a 12-foot sewing tool, and so people come to her to kind of finish off her quilts. More than anything, there's a resound passion around quilting, and so not only is this like side money, but it actually allows her to put more money into her own passion of quilting. So it's kind of like this just self-funding adventure she's on. So thank you so much, and we appreciate all the tips and insights.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan.
Hi, I'm Ryan Basso with the Venture College, a program within the College of Innovation Design at Boise State. The Venture College helps students and community members launch their ideas beyond the classroom and turn those ideas into startups, lifestyle businesses, side hustles, and other ventures. With the COVID-19 situation, we know that more and more people in our community and throughout Idaho, beyond just students, will be looking for ways to generate extra income. That's why we've started the Side Hustle series. We will be talking to successful entrepreneurs about starting and growing side hustles that can be done from just about anywhere in the world. If you're interested in learning more or need some help, contact us at venturecollege@boisestate.edu or go to our website to learn more. Also, watch out for our social media accounts for the next installments of the Side Hustle series. Hello everyone, I'm here with Melanie Shreeve. She is the owner and founder of Ice Cream Quilting, and I gotta admit I'm a little embarrassed because I've known Melanie for about 10-12 years, and I had no idea she had this quilting business, which kind of shows you that a lot of side hustles are just on the side and no one even knows about it. So Melanie, tell me and the world, what's your quilting business about and how long have you been doing it?
Okay, thanks, Ryan. I've been quilting for probably about 25 years now, but about 10 years ago or so, I invested in a long arm sewing machine, which is how we finish quilts these days. And so I have been quilting. People bring me their finished tops that they've pieced, and then I quilt them for them. I've also done quilts where
that they already made, and your service is kind of making that into actual like a quilt thing.
Actually, absolutely. The other thing I have done, which I don't do as much, is what they call consignment quilts, and that's when they actually have you start a quilt from scratch and finish it from nothing to something, to a very nice product. But I don't do as many of those because people can't, they don't want to pay what that costs to have that done. It's pretty expensive.
Sense. So do people not have your long arm thing just because it's expensive, or why are they not doing it themselves?
A lot of times it's a whole nother avenue of quilting, so it requires a whole nother set of skills, and some people like to learn that skill and other people are like, that's just not for me. So because there's a learning curve to it. Plus the machine sits on a 12-foot table, so you have to have space for it, and it's not like you can just pick it up and walk around with it. It's an industrial machine that's 50 pounds and takes up some space.
So at what point did you decide to bring this monstrosity into your house and have it?
Well, the love of quilting. I just love the process from start to finish. I love taking something, creating something, and then finishing it, seeing it from front to end.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was the right move for me because it's my favorite hobby in the world. I mean, that's what I like to do. And so turning it into business was really easy for me.
Gotcha. So you buy this machine, and then do people just naturally start coming to you, or like how'd you get your first couple of customers for that?
Yeah, the way I first got my first couple is I actually went to some quilt shops in the area and showed them some of my work. And so then they took my card, and then they, as people would come in and say, hey, I need to get a quilt finished because I've pieced it, but I don't know how to finish it. Then the quilting shops would give out cards of, people who were doing what I'm doing.
And so that service themselves?
They have started to, in the last, I would say 5 or so years, they've started to purchase long arm quilts in their shops and have offered for people to rent them.
Oh, we lost the video.
So that's part of the business, yeah. But otherwise, there's a lot of people that just say, you know what, I'm going to stick to piecing. I don't want to learn this end of it. So I just want to pay somebody who knows what they're doing to have it quilted.
How did you determine pricing, and has it changed over time or stayed pretty consistent?
No, it has changed a smidgen over time. The basic, the most fair way that this industry does it is to charge by the square inch of the quilt. So 2 cents a square inch, 3 cents a square inch, 1.5 cents a square inch, depending on what we're doing on the quilt. So that makes it pretty fair. It makes it fair for the person bringing the quilt, and it makes it fair for me with my time. That's typically how we do it. Custom quilting it adds another level of time and intensity and expertise. And so that's a little bit more per square inch,
Yeah.
but that's how we do it.
Got it. Okay. So I'll repeat that back. So for your service of like kind of putting two pieces together and making a quilt, you're charging on a per inch basis, which pretty much sounds like a industry standard. And then you just set your price. That makes sense. So do you, at this point, are you like, what percentage of the business do you get are people like you don't know and they just reach out to you?
Sure. Cold calls. I would say probably 10 to 15% is cold calls. But
Yeah.
most of the people now that that come to me are people that are repeat customers because they like what I've done for them. And so they bring them back to me. In fact, I've got several that are out of state that will actually mail me their quilt tops. That I have one lady, for example, that is in California that will mail me about 4 to 5 quilts at a time, and then I'll get those finished for her and mail them back.
Gotcha.
So that's quite a few of my customers are out of state, but the local people, it's word of mouth, and it's they're repeats because they're into the hobby.
Yeah, makes sense. And then quantify that, like on average, like how many in a given month, how many quilts are you working on?
Sure. There was a time, and I've had to slow down my side business a little bit, not be as aggressive in building it because I work full time as a registered nurse as well.
Yeah.
So my time is a factor now with my side business. But when I was not working full time, I was averaging about 2 to 3 quilts a week. So 52 weeks, that's about 150 quilts a year is where I was averaging. Now I've cut back. What's that?
Time-wise, like what does one quilt take you?
Well, it depends on the size of the quilt for sure.
Yeah.
But the average quilt, which let's just say is between a twin and a queen size quilt, let's just say that's the average size,
Sure.
usually takes me about 4 to 5 hours a quilt.
Wow. Okay. See, you never know these things. So that makes sense. So it was more like a side hustle, and then it almost grew too much. And then you kind of like scale that back down. So how did you scale it back down? Did you start saying no, or did it just naturally go down because you weren't like pushing as much?
Yeah, well, part of it is my location. I changed locations. I moved. And so it was kind of a natural fallback, if you will, because of that. And so, but I'm slowly building it up in this area, which I wouldn't mind having a little bit more local. Right now, a lot of my customers are from out of state. With a handful of my customers being local. But I haven't worried about it too much as well, just because I work full time with another business, another thing as well.
And what's like at this point, like what's the ultimate motivation? Is it just like some extra cash on the side? Is it you just want to stay busy and make cash at the same time? Like what's driving you to keep it going?
Probably the couple of things that keep me going is one, as I love it, and I love being able to put my stamp on this product, because it shows a creative side, and it's a quality of work. And I love quilting in general, meaning it's just part of me.
Yeah.
That's one entity of it. I do like making some cash on the side. It keeps my habit going, my quilting habit.
Yeah.
Plus, it also has generated opportunities for me to expand in other ways, more tools and things that I can offer. And then probably the other thing is it's as far as the business goes, it's I don't have to make all of these quilts, but I get to touch every one of them. Yeah. That's really fun for me. I get to be a part of this creative curve that I didn't necessarily create, but I get to put a piece of it into it.
Really cool. All right. Well, in review, Melanie Shreeve been running a quilt business that I had no idea about for, last 10 plus years. She's not making the actual quilts, but she kind of seals it on the outside. And she does that because she has like a special tool. And not a lot of people are willing to get a 12-foot sewing tool. And so people come to her to kind of finish off her quilts. More than anything, there's a resound passion around quilting. And so not only is this like side money, but it actually allows her to put more money into her own passion of quilting. So it's kind of like this just self-funding adventure she's on. So thank you so much, and we appreciate all the tips and insights.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan.
Thanks for listening. While you're waiting for the next episode, feel free to contact us or follow us on social media.